Another example. This is extraordinary, really. This is an article on the website of UNESCO. UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Like the UN in totality, it is a vehicle for the 1% to manipulate world government. Just a stepping stone. And not in the least was I surprised to see this article promoted by the United Nations agency here with the headline, "Climate Crimes Must Be Brought to Justice." This is written by a British academic. God, do you remember when academia used to be quite a noble profession? You must have a very good memory if you do, because it's become a joke. And you know why it's become a joke? Because it's been systematically designed to become a joke. A joke by ensuring that the woke are appointed to positions of academia. This is a lady called Catriona McKinnon. So she opens up. A fire has started in the theatre from which there are no exits. And she's making an analogy that there's a fire and people are shouting at the people who are thinking we've got to get out. There's a fire. Oh, there is no fire. There's not a problem. And she's equating that with people saying, actually, if you look at the evidence, human-caused climate change is a hoax. McKinnon would never see that because she's woke. And where she goes with this is very sinister and very much in line with where we're going in every area. There is a theme. You can see it again and again. If it's the agenda, more and more the pressure is to ban silence, and the next stage, this is just one example, make a criminal offense challenging that narrative. So this is where she goes with it. Something called postericide, it's spelled postericide, poster, then ICIDE. I'm going to call it postericide. And she's proposed that international criminal law should be expanded to include a new criminal offense of what she calls postericide. It is committed by intentional or reckless conduct fit to bring about the extinction of humanity. Postericide is committed when humanity is put at risk of extinction by conduct performed either with the intention of making humanity go extinct or with the knowledge that the conduct is fit to have this effect. When a person knows that their conduct will impose an impermissible risk on another and acts anyway, they are reckless, says this intellectual bloody giant. It is in the domain of reckless conduct, making climate change worse, that we should look for postericidal conduct. And she goes on to call for international law to make this a criminal offense. Of course, what she doesn't mention are other academics who are also woke, who are saying that the best thing that can happen to the world is that humanity stops procreating and becomes extinct. Now that, according to McKinnon, woke is postericide, but it No. If you're woke, then that's your get out of jail card. Only the unwoke are possibly guilty of postericide, just as only white people can be guilty of racism. And you see it, that this theme, we've had this law officer in Britain doing an interview. I mentioned it in this podcast about a couple of weeks ago, maybe, talking about people who um, question vaccinations, anti-vaxxers, they call them. There should be a criminal offence, considering it being a criminal offence. And this is where we're going. It's so obvious when you just, well, connect the dots anymore. Dots are being connected by these people for us. Catriona McKinnon is Professor of Political Theory at the University of Exeter, United Kingdom. She's published numerous articles, I can't wait to read them, and books on climate justice and on toleration and liberal political ideals. To be woke means you know how to toleration. And she's currently completing a monograph defending postericide, endangering humanity and international crime, writing an introductory book on climate justice and researching the ethical questions raised by geoengineering. And Catriona McKinnon's are all over global academia now, completely taking it over. And then we have this lady, a former UN climate chief. She's calling for civil disobedience. This lady is absolutely United Nations to her DNA. If she was to stick a rock, United Nations would be written all the way through her. Christiana Figueres. She has written a book with some other guy, some guy connected to a aristocratic family, a climate lobbyist, a book called The Future We Choose, Surviving the Climate Crisis, where she's saying, of course, she supports Extinction Rebellion and Greta Thunberg, of course she does. And she is saying that civil disobedience is a moral choice, and it is the most powerful way of shaping world politics. So she's calling for more civil disobedience, I guess, of the Extinction Rebellion variety. And the irony of irony is that she quotes as legendary activists in support of this idea of hers, Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Of course, there's no self-awareness there, so she won't see the difference between Martin Luther King defending freedom for all people of whatever color, and the climate cult that this lady supports that is demanding that freedom be deleted. Once again, wherever you look, the walls are closing in on freedom. They were always going to. That Ike's mad. Says they're going to take our freedom away. Ooh-wee. Oh, yeah, another climate story this week. This is the madness of the green woke. What has happened with the hijacking of the environmental movement by the hoax of human-caused climate change? Don't think about anything else. That's all that matters now. Things are being done in the name of protecting the planet from climate change that are destroying the environment. Because the environment don't matter anymore. Only human-caused climate change matters in the environmental movement. That's why so many genuine environmentalists have walked away from it or publicly exposed it. So you have these, I think I mentioned last week, these wind turbines, which have these blades, at least some of which are about the size of the wing of a jumbo jet. And they have no way of dealing with them when they're finished, about every 10 years apparently, except burying them. But there's another aspect to these wind turbines, and it is this. Scottish wind industry, that must be woke surely, Scottish wind industry clear fells 17,283 acres and wipes out 14 million trees to save planet. This is the story. Wiping out entire forest habitats is all part of our inevitable transition to a wind-powered culture. Across Germany, millions of acres of forest have been felled and great swathes cut through others to allow some 30,000 wind turbines to be speared across Deutschland. The same wanton destruction has been integral to Scotland's wind power disaster. Scotland's government is a disaster, where so far, very woke by the way, 13,900,000 trees have been chainsawed and or bulldozed out of existence. Oh, we must plant more trees, take CO2. Oh no, let's cut them down. All, of course, in order to save the planet. Where phony eco-warriors jump for joy, real environmentalists are left to weep as national habitats for all manner of birds and animals are turned into industrial wastelands. Anyway, sip of water. So, a Scottish citizen made a Freedom of Information request to the Scottish Forestry, asking how many trees had been felled to put these turbines up. And this was the answer under the Freedom of Information Act. Thank you for your request, dated 26 November and received on the 5th of December, and the clarification dated 19th, 2019, under blah, blah, blah. You asked for A, the number of trees felled for all onshore wind farm development in Scotland to date. B, the areas of felled trees in hectares for all onshore wind farm development in Scotland to date. I enclose some of the information requested. Specifically, data covering renewable developments on Scotland's national forests and lands, which is managed on behalf of Scottish ministers by Forestry and Land Scotland. The area of felled trees in hectares from 2000, the date when the first scheme was developed, is 6,994 hectares, 17,283 acres. Based on the average number of trees per hectare of 2000, this gives an estimated total number of trees cut down for wind turbines of 13.9 million. Everything is an inversion in terms of this whole conspiracy. And now we see quite blatantly the inversion of the environmental movement from one that sought to protect the environment to one that is quite happy for it to be destroyed on the altar of utter madness. Greta Thunberg is coming to Britain to Bristol. Did she come yet? I don't know. She's coming soon. And her mother has revealed how the climate activist stopped talking and eating at age 11 as she struggled with autism and an eating disorder before discovering her mission to save the world. Just my view, I think Greta Thunberg is just about the most manipulated child on planet Earth. And what is being done to her is absolutely disgusting. And like I say, she's coming to Britain, and police have warned of inadequate safety at Greta Thunberg protest. Police are warning parents that a Bristol protest that Greta Thunberg is due to join has grown so large it is unlikely usual safety measures will be adequate. And this whole Greta phenomenon is once again, well, first of all, she's being played like the string section, and through her, so many young people and children are being played by the string section, and not least terrified that unless they give their freedom away and demand everyone else's freedom is given away, then the world is going to end.